Okay, today's lesson is Joshua 2. Let's see, we're going to read 1 through 13. That's all we're going to read today. This is a great chapter, so we're going to take our time with it. So go ahead and pause me and read Joshua 2, 1 through 13. Okay, you're back. Joshua 2 is about Rahab. It's the first story of Rahab, and Rahab is a great person. And so Joshua sent these two secret spies. So I don't know why he didn't tell the rest of the Israelites what he was doing. Mainly because I think that time when Moses sent him and Caleb and the other 10 spies to spy out the land, right at the beginning of the wilderness journey, and the 10 came back and said, "Oh no, we're scared, we can't go." And Joshua and Caleb said, "Yeah, we can." And then God said, "Oh, you know, you unbelievers, God's with you, and because you didn't believe, you 10 jerks, you guys get to wander for 40 years. So that could have had something to do with it, but maybe not. Maybe he just wanted to keep it secret. So anyway, he sends these two spies, and he says, "Go look at the land, especially Jericho," which is, by the way, the lowest city in the world. It is the lowest city in the world. Okay, so they went to Jericho, and they entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab. Well, so I've been told this is not necessarily, it is a prostitute. She could be, she was a prostitute, but back then prostitutes and innkeepers were kind of the same thing. So even though they might not have been looking for a prostitute, they may have been looking for just an inn to stay. They ended up with a prostitute's house named Rahab. Okay, but then the king was told, who knows how he found out, you know, these low towns, the news travels fast. But anyway, he found out, and he said, "Hey, this is, you know, we're not having these Israelite spies in here. Go and to Rahab, he sent a message and said, 'Give me these men, because they have come to spy out the land.'" And as we'll read, they had reason to be afraid of these Israelite spies. So she said, she lied. No, those guys, they left at sunset when the gates closed. You know, they left. You just missed them. They left. They're gone. They're history. In the meantime, she's got them hidden on the roof under the stalks of flax that she had laid out, which was apparently, I don't know, they had to dry, so that's why they used the roof for that, among many other things. But I don't know if it was flax season. Anyway, so the guys go out and they chase these guys, and of course the guys are not there. So the spies were safe. But before the spies went to sleep that night, she went up on the roof and said, "Hey, I know that the God has given you this land," which was really unusual, kind of not unusual. First of all, that she knew and she was so definite about the Israelite God was unusual. The fact that she knew that God had given the land to these guys was not, because, and this is what we've heard, how the Lord dried up the Red Sea. We heard what happened when you came in. We heard what you did to these kings. We heard how God is really doing things for you, and it's being destructive to all the people who oppose it, and we're scared. We're scared. Everyone's courage has failed because of you, and because your Lord, the Lord is your God in heaven and on earth below. So most cultures back then believed in a lot of separate gods, but definitely a God of heaven and then a different God of earth. So this was really unusual. And so she says, now, and this is, I kind of think this is interesting. She saves them and then demands that they save her. She could have gone up there and said, hey, these guys are knocking on the door and I'm going to let them in unless you promise. But she took it on faith that they would do as she asked if she saved them. So she said, show kindness to my family because I've shown kindness to you. Give me a sign that you will spare my mother and father. So Rahab, right off the bat, she's very different from the norm here. She's prostitute, she believes in God, and she's taken these guys on faith that they're going to help her. And I mean, she wanted something out of it. She wanted safety, but you know, she took it on faith that if she saved them, she would get that. Okay, that's today's lesson. Bye.